Time to take my test. It's time to take my test. What?
We need Carter.
I need to retake my test right now.
No, now's not a good time.
No,
Carter.
really, I need to retake my test.
No, not now, Carter.
Nope, nope.
No, Carter, not now, Carter. Not now, Carter.
You what?
Carter, not now.
What's going on?
Right now, Carter, not now. Hey guys, Mr. Wilhelm here. Sorry about that little disturbance there at the beginning of the video. I want to assure you that everything is under control now. So that allows us to start talking about today's lesson, which is about the cell and the different parts of the cell. The structures within a cell function in providing protection and support, forming a barrier between the cell and its environment, building and repairing the cell parts, transporting materials, storing and releasing energy, getting rid of waste materials, and increasing in number. These cell structures are called organelles. We're going to be focusing in on all of the different little parts of the cell, all the organs of the cell. These little tiny organs are called organelles. Okay, first off, first organelle, which is the cell membrane. The main thing you want to remember here is the cell membrane is the doorway of the cell. The cell membrane does provide some protection and support, but it is also the primary controller of what comes in and out of the cell. It allows water and nutrients to come into the cell and also removes waste products out of the cell. So the cell membrane, that is the doorway of the cell. And you can see it right here. It's this layer, this outermost layer of the cell. And this particular cell is an animal cell. Okay? Next we have the nucleus. The nucleus is the control center of the cell. Again, we want to highlight this right here, control. Okay? The nucleus controls all of the activities that take place in the cell. Okay? It's essentially the brain of the cell. Okay? So again, here's our animal cell, and this big purple area right here would be considered the nucleus. Okay? Inside the nucleus we have chromosomes. Chromosomes are where we find DNA. Okay, which is the genetic material which allows cells to split and divide and multiply in number, okay, and reproduce cells of the same type. Okay, so this is the nucleus, and inside the nucleus we find chromosomes with DNA. Next we have mitochondria. Okay, mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. They are responsible for supplying the cell with energy. Okay, most of the energy of the cell, especially the animal cell here, comes from mitochondria. And there's a slight difference between animal cell and plant cell with regards to this. Most of the energy in the animal cell comes from mitochondria. In plant cells, it's a little bit different. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Here are diagrams of mitochondria. Okay, this is again a cutaway view, but here are two mitochondria in the animal cell. Next, we have ribosomes. Okay, ribosomes are protein factories. They build things. They build proteins. Now, ribosomes are a little hard to see here in our diagram, but they're all the little specks that you can see on the nucleus. We're going to talk about this here in just a second, but the endoplasmic reticulum. They're the little dots. They're little grain-like bodies, okay, or sand-like bodies that are inside of the cell. And again, those guys are producing protein in the protein factories of the cell. Endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, that's a big word. Easy enough to remember though. It is the transportation system of the cell. Okay, transportation system. This is where we're going to allow things to move about the cell. It's the passageways of the cell. Okay? We have two types of endoplasmic reticulum. We have what's called the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Really, the only difference between the two is rough endoplasmic reticulum has the ribosomes all over it, whereas the smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not have ribosomes on the outside of it. Okay? But the endoplasmic reticulum, it is the transportation transportation system of the cell, the hallways of the cell, how things get from one spot to another inside of the cell. Okay, lysosomes. Lysosomes are our little janitors. They're our little cleanup crews, for the cell. Lysosomes are responsible for getting rid of any type of waste products inside the cell, basically taking out the trash. Lysosomes will consume the waste products and essentially digest them and break them down using enzymes. Okay? An interesting fact here is this is what occurs whenever we're talking about a tadpole's tail. Eventually a tadpole turns into a frog. A tadpole is a baby frog. And when that tadpole's tail starts to disappear, essentially the lysosomes are digesting all the things inside of the cell. So the cells are being eaten up and taken away. Okay, cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is all of the stuff that is between organelles. It's essentially the jelly-like material that is between cells. It's the empty space. Okay, we call it the suspension system of the cell. If you could think of just things being suspended in water or in jelly. Okay, it's all the stuff between the organelles. I got a couple arrows trying to show you the empty space between all of the various organelles inside of the cell. Cytoplasm. Okay, flagellum and cilia. Now, these are the motion makers for the cell. These are only in animal cells. Let me emphasize that point again. These are only in animal cells. Only animal cells have the ability to move. As you saw previously in the previous lab where you were looking at the various animal cells moving on your slides underneath your microscope, all of those animal cells that had the ability to move either had a single flagellum, which is this long tail or long whip-like looking structure, or cilia. Cilia are like little hairs that vibrate on the outside of the cell. So those guys have the ability to move from one location to another. Now, not all animal cells have cilia or a flagellum. Only some of them do. But only animal cells can have them. Plant cells cannot have flagellum or cilia. It is specific to animal cells. Vacuoles. Now, both animal cells and plant cells have vacuoles. I've got a picture of both here. Okay? Vacuoles are the little storage tanks of the cell. They primarily store water, but they can hold other materials as well. In animal cells, vacuoles are usually rather small, okay, like that right there. However, in plant cells, vacuoles are usually very large and are usually fairly centrally located inside of the plant cell. Plants need a tremendous amount of water, okay, and they store that water in their vacuoles to give them strength, okay, to hold themselves up. You're able to hold yourself up by your bone structure. Plants do not have bones. Therefore, they rely on the individual cells to give them support. So with the vacuole and the cell wall, they are able to provide themselves that type of support to hold themselves up. Okay? But a vacuole primarily stores water. Okay? And again, small vacuole in an animal cell, much larger centrally located vacuole in a plant cell. Cell wall. Cell wall is the support and protection system of the cell. The cell wall is only found in plant cells. Animal cells do not have a cell wall. Okay? Only plant cells have a cell wall. So a plant cell has a cell wall and a cell membrane, whereas an animal cell only has a cell membrane. And it's the outermost layer, okay, rigid outermost layer of the plant cell is the cell wall. Chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are what we call the solar power factories of the cell. Okay? Chloroplasts are these little green structures found in plant cells. Chloroplasts make essentially plants green. Okay? Plants are green because of the chloroplasts that are found in their cells. Chloroplasts take in light from the sun, and they convert that light energy into food. Okay? They convert that light energy into their food source. Okay? We call that process photosynthesis. Plants can undergo photosynthesis, animals cannot. Okay? Otherwise, if we could undergo photosynthesis, we'd all be green because we'd have chloroplasts in our cells. But we're not green because we don't have chloroplasts. So only plants have those green chloroplast structures. Okay, Golgi bodies. Okay, Golgi bodies. They are the little male and package-centered parts of the cell. Okay, they store and package and deliver proteins and lipids, which are fats and other things that are in the endoplasmic reticulum. Golgi bodies are found in plant and animal cells, both. Here's an example of a Golgi body in an animal cell and a Golgi body in a plant cell. Male and package center of the cell. Very good. Centrioles or Centrioles. They are the guidance counselors of the cell. These guys are primarily used whenever cells divide. Okay, Centrioles line up the chromosomes that are located inside of the nucleus. Okay, chromosomes are in the nucleus. Right here is the structure itself, though. And they pull apart the chromosomes during mitosis and guide them to the right location. Okay. So here is our diagram of the animal cell. So now we've talked about the function of each one of these organelles. Now let's identify them. We've already kind of gone through previously and identified them, but let's go through here again to identify the structure. First, we have the cell membrane. This is in the animal cell. It is also in the plant cell. It is the outermost layer of the animal cell. Nucleus. In both plant and animal cells, the control center of the cell. Mitochondria. Again, mitochondria are also in plant and animal cells. They are the powerhouses of the cell. They supply the cell with energy. Ribosomes. Ribosomes in plant and animal cells both. Ribosomes are the little bitty specks, the little grain-like structures that are on the nucleus here and the endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosomes are the protein builders of the cell. Endoplasmic reticulum. We have smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. But that is the passageways. Okay, this big blue area, the passageways around the cell. How little parts and food and so forth get from one part of the cell to the other. Kind of like the hallways of the cell. Lysosomes. Lysosomes, again, those are our little janitors, our little cleanup crews of the cell. Lysosomes right here, they're responsible for taking care of all the waste and all the trash and all the garbage of the cell. Cytoplasm, right here, cytoplasm, all the empty space. It's a jelly-like material that is between all the organelles. All of the organelles are suspended or sit in this cytoplasm. Flagellum. Okay? It can either be a flagellum or it could also be cilia. Here, the flagellum is this long, single, whip-like structure, tail-like structure, okay, that enables the animal cell to move. And cilia are little hairs that are outside of the animal cell. But remember, only the animal cell has the ability to move, not plant cells. Centrioles. They are these guys right here. Okay, there are the little guidance counselors of the cell. They're going to move the chromosomes as it undergoes mitosis. Mitosis, again, is the splitting of two cells, of one cell to create two cells. And then we have our vacuole. Okay, vacuole is the little storage tank of the cell. Okay, holds water. Golgi body. Golgi body was our mail and package center of the cells. It's going to get things ready to be shipped out and moved throughout the cell. And here's our plant cell. Now, you can see that a lot of things I did not include in the plant cell because they're already included in the animal cell. We have the nucleus, which is in both. The endoplasmic reticulum, smooth and rough, okay, with the ribosomes in both. Golgi bodies in both. Mitochondria in both. Okay. Right here we have our cell wall, which is only in the plant cell. Cell wall is only in the plant cell. Vacuoles. Now, vacuoles is in both plants and animal cells, But plant cells have the one large, centrally located vacuole, okay, which stores water. And then we have chloroplasts. Okay? Chloroplasts are the green structures. They're the things that make photosynthesis happen. They take in sunlight and turn that sunlight into food for the plant cell. And then you can see a couple other structures such as mitochondria, cell membrane. They're also in both. Very good. Okay, this is the information over plant and animal cells. If for whatever reason I went too fast, by all means you can rewind and watch it again. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. What happened? What's going on? What's going on? What is that? Oh no. Oh no, no, no! 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 Y'all stay back, stay back, stay away! Stay away! Stay away!